All right, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Media Podcast. I'm your host, Molly Jacob, and along with me here, I have Kenley, Pierre, Robert Finizio, Ethan Dubrosky, and Dominic Sedicino. Today is February 8th, 2022. We are just a couple days away from the big game. We finally have some new talent in there. These two teams are very hot in the league right now. There's a lot to unfold on each side of the ball for each team, and we're going to get all into that. We're going to say our takes, predictions, all that. To start, who wants to start us off?
I will.
Go ahead, Kenley.
All right. So I was thinking of so many scenarios that the Bengals could win this one. I can't figure it out. For my final prediction, actually, I want to start off by saying that the Rams defense, their front, especially their front four, has been playing lights out. They've been playing really well. Donald, he's going to control the line of scrimmage this week. We have Von Miller coming off the edge, and the secondary. Pretty much, it's not really a one-man show. It's a group effort with the Rams secondary, but you have Jalen Ramsey, who's a shutdown corner. I'm really interested in the 1-0 matchup. You know, I think Stephen A. is right. Stephen A. is right. We need more corners. We need more players in the NFL like Jalen Ramsey because he embraces the challenge. And he said he's looking forward to match up against Chase, and it's going to be a good one. And I believe we got to get a popcorn ready for that matchup. And for my final prediction, I got 24-7 Rams.
All right. Yeah. Speaking of Jalen Ramsey, he's done really incredible this season. He's allowed 49 out of 83 pass completed attempts. And that's really impressive. And he's had 16 deflections. The one thing the Bengals are going to have to look out for in this matchup is the fact that Matthew Stafford is really good. He's the best quarterback in the league that can fight against a blitz. He's really good at knowing cover one, cover three. And if the Bengals want to make sure that they get the proper matchup, like double coverage on Cooper Kupp, they're going to have to go cover three. Cooper Kupp is he holds the record for 170 catches this season, which is the most completed catches in one single season, including the playoffs. So that's just really impressive. You have so many different weapons on both sides of the ball, especially like Aaron Donald, which I think if he wins Super Bowl, he's going to win MVP. And yeah, what else do you guys have to say?
Molly, I think that's really interesting that you bring that up because you think about Stafford and all his years in Detroit and how he really didn't have a lot to work with around him in terms of his offensive linemen. They never really developed that with their draft stock. They never were able to really protect him. He was always hurt, really, just because of the fact that he didn't have a lot of time under pressure. But that's where he kind of was able to perfect his game, is the ability to get out of the pocket, read defenses really well. Now for the Bengals, one of the two problems that I see with the Bengals, really, one of them being their offensive line and the other thing being their pass defense. They've let up their top 10 in letting up yards and passing yards this season, and especially in the postseason. So really for the Bengals, like you said, cover three, they're going to have to play more of a wide out type of defense because we know how Cooper Kupp goes, and the way that this offense moves is once it gets turning, they're very similar to Kansas City where they know how to turn it on, and there is no way to turn that off once they get started. So I'm going to be very interested to see how the Bengals adapt to the ways that the Rams are going to be moving the ball on the offensive side.
The Rams hold, there was a stat that came out and said that the Rams average in the postseason 34 minutes on the offense. So they definitely know how to take up their time.
I don't think you have to, if you don't know who you want to pick in this game, I don't think you have to look far to figure out which way you're going to want to lean. You only have to kick it back 1 year to Super Bowl 55, where Patrick Mahomes lost both of his tackles and he was running for his absolute life. And that crazy dynamic offense that featured Tyreek Hill, that featured Travis Kelce, that featured Clyde Edwards-Helaire could only muster 9 points against a very good Buccaneer defense. The Bengal offensive line is worse than that offensive line that the Chiefs played in the Super Bowl last year. And I know me and Molly talked about it off air, how the Bengals were able to overcome a terrible effort by their offensive line in the divisional round where they gave up 9 sacks. But if you look at the 2 games that they won, you can say Ryan Tannehill gave that game away to the Bengals, especially with the pick at the end. I think he ended up throwing 3 interceptions in the game. Then after halftime in the championship game, the Chiefs only put up 3 points. So as much as, yeah, the Bengals are a good team and they're on the come up, it took a lot of help for them to get this far. And I just think the Rams, they're a much better team at this point, and that defense is vaunting. It's better than the Buccaneer defense was last year. And the Bengals offensive line is worse than the Chiefs offensive line was going into Super Bowl 55. So I like Kenley's prediction. I'll give the Bengals 13 points, but I'm thinking like 34-13 Rams. They're going to cover that number easily.
I think that if we're being honest, as much as the Bengals are the fun underdog story and Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are getting the people behind the team, I think the Bengals honestly kind of fluked their way into the Super Bowl. I don't think this is a team who can genuinely compete against the Rams defense. Joe Burrow is a fantastic player, and the Bengals have an elite receiving core. But if your offensive line has more holes in it than Swiss cheese, you're not going to get very far. And we saw that in the Super Bowl on the biggest stage last year. And for the second year in a row, one of the teams playing in the Super Bowl is hosting it. So the Rams also have that home field advantage where they're comfortable. And the Bengals can't rely on Joe Burrow alone. They can't rely on that receiving core. They're going to need production from Joe Mixon in the backfield. And I don't know if they can produce that, not because of Mixon, but because I don't believe in the Bengals offensive line against an average defense, much less one of the best front fours in the NFL. I think that, defense wins championships, and I think the Rams take this one. It's not the popular pick. I know people want the Bengals to win, but I think that if you're giving up 9 sacks to the Titans, you're gonna have a rough time, playing in the Super Bowl. And I think that the Bengals arguably could have lost their first game against Oakland, could have lost their second game against Tennessee, and probably would have lost their third game against the Chiefs if 1 or 2 plays go differently. So the Bengals have been very lucky, and luck is one of the most important factors in making a deep playoff run. But I think their luck runs out in the Super Bowl. I think we're going to see a lot of fireworks from that Rams secondary.
Yeah, you bring up a great point about the offensive line and how, they're really not that good. During the Titans game, the Bengals ran 18 running plays and Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times. During the Chiefs game, the Bengals ran 29 running plays. Joe Burrow was pressured 16 times, but he only got sacked once. So if Joe Mixon doesn't get over 90 yards on the Super Bowl, the Bengals are going to be in trouble. He only averages 4 yards per carry.
And that's a great point, Molly. If the Bengals won't stand a chance if they're not able to get Joe Mixon going early, especially if they get down early. If they get down early and they have to pass their way out of this situation, the defense, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Gaines, all those guys, they're going to be able to pin their ears back, and they're going to be coming for Joe Burrow. He's going to have a target on his back the entire game. And that's a really good point by Ethan, too. I forgot to mention the Raider game. The Raiders lost that game. You can argue that the Bengals, they did enough to win. They deserve to win the divisional round and the championship game. But that Raider game, the Raiders absolutely lost that game against the Bengals with the penalties and the play calling down the stretch to the point where their entire coaching staff ended up getting fired, the Raiders. That's how bad it was. So, I mean, it seems like we're all pretty down on the Bengals. I don't want to take anything away from them. It's a great story. It's a great accomplishment that they've gotten this far. And this is coming from a guy who roots for a team that had 4 wins this year. So I get it. It's fun to be excited, and they're only going to get better. But I just think this matchup in this setting, it's not going to be too big for them. It's just there's way too much with this Ram team, especially with the experience for them to overcome it and win Super Bowl 56.
Yeah, and like, oh, go ahead,
Go
Robbie.
ahead.
I was just gonna say something real quick. Like the Bengals have so many wide receiver weapons. Like they're obviously gonna use Jamar Chase, but you already know that Jalen Ramsey's gonna have man coverage on him like the entire game. So they're gonna have to use like Tyler Boyd and T Higgins, all that. So I'm excited to see how that plays out.
I was going to just say, like, the best way that I can put this matchup is that the Rams have all the tangibles. They've got the home field advantage. They've got Stafford. They've got star receivers. They've got Donald. They've got Ramsey. They got all the big names. They, like we all know, they put all their eggs in one basket. They've got no draft picks for 2 years. This is their shot. The Bengals have all the intangibles. Everybody's behind Joe Burrow, the rookie Chase, the LSU connection. They have all that more intangible momentum. But what's so crazy and what's so spectacular about the Super Bowl, and we've seen it, and there's been so many Super Bowls and we've seen it, is that the biggest things is time control, running the ball. It's about the attitude you guys have. Can you handle the pressure of this high intensity? Like we understand, a lot of these guys have not played in the Super Bowl. That's one thing to think about that you don't see in a Brady or a Roethlisberger or Mahomes. These guys have not really had that experience. So that's what makes this game such a wild card. Even if the Rams on paper may look better than the Bengals, and the Bengals may have had a couple flukes to get to this point, that's why I think this game is going to be a lot closer, mostly out of the fact that there's just not as much experience. So I think there's going to be a lot of trial and error on Sean McVay's part, as well as on the Bengals' part. So that's why I think that this game is going to come down to how well can you game plan for the big game, the Super Bowl, not the conference game, not the division game, not a regular season game. How well can you game plan for this weekend?
Another thing I wanted to say, I don't want to count out the Bengals. It's just that I don't see it being as a Super Bowl 36 Rams Patriots type of game or a Super Bowl 42 Patriots Giants type of game. As much as Jamar Chase, as much as good as he is, this is his first time being in the Super Bowl. Like, I agree with Rob. I clearly agree with him. But even though they're going to try to get all those other receivers involved, the Rams pass defense, the Rams defense they're second in pass touchdowns allowed this season. So it's going to be really tough for them to throw pass touchdowns, But so they most definitely have to get the run game going to set up the play action pass. Yeah, and everybody, even the Rams, but they have certain players. It's their first time being in the Super Bowl. Odell, Jalen, but the thing is, they're still equipped, more so equipped, not just because they have home field advantages. They're still more equipped because Sean McVay has been there and he has failed in a humiliated fashion against the Patriots 3 years ago. So he has that experience over Zach Taylor. And I feel like he won't make that mistake again. He has the better quarterback this time. That is experience, that's been there for 13 years. That is efficient, more so than Jared Goff. So that's why I feel like it could be a blowout. That's why I feel in that way. And I'm not discounting the Bengals. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a close game. But at the same time, it is likely that, a guy like Aaron Donald could get like 15 sacks. Like, it's that right side of the Bengals O-line is just that bad. And the only thing they could do is just try to take time away from Matthew Stafford by running the ball. And even that, that's still a problem because Aaron Donald is just that good at controlling the line of scrimmage. And that's what I expect from him, to control the line of scrimmage. So, yes.
Let me give you – I'm sorry, Ethan, were you going to go?
I was going to say, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Whoa.
I think that this game really is going to come down to, can the team who seizes momentum first hang on to it, and can the team who, gets punched in the mouth, can they adjust? So if the Bengals are able to get the ball and score early, that's very important. I think that the Bengals' key to winning is to score early and try to avoid getting into a hole, because if you give this Rams team an inch, they will take a mile. I mean, Matt Stafford against the Buccaneers was, he sealed it with a 50-yard throw with the D tackle in his face. So, I mean, the Rams are an exceptionally talented team, and I think that it's going to take a whole team effort from the Bengals playing some of the best football of their life to keep it close, much less win. And we know Joe Burrow can handle the pressure. I mean, he won a national championship in college and he led them through this playoff run. But can the rest of the Bengals live up to that pressure? Or will the bright lights get to them? The Rams have been in this situation before, and a lot of the guys from that 2018 team are still there, and they still remember that bitter taste of defeat, including the Rams coaching staff. And the coaching staff is undoubtedly, game planning and preparing and getting ready, for this game. And they're probably going to be heavier on the adjustments should they get punched in the mouth like they did against the Patriots.
I'll give you one scenario where the Bengals can jump this one and surprise everybody and win this game before if Molly wants us to move on. If the Bengals, let's say they get the ball first and they go down and they score a touchdown, Matthew Stafford, as good as he is, has the tendency to catch the turnover bug and start forcing things and start throwing picks. He threw 8 interceptions in the last 3 weeks of the season. Ended up leading the league in interceptions, I'm pretty sure. What I would say to that is if Matthew Stafford isn't patient and doesn't let his defense play for him, even if they get down early, this Rams defense isn't going to give up 30 points. Even if they get down by 14 early, they need to stay within their game plan, and he can't just start chucking and heaving it all over the field, which he does have a tendency to do. So if the Bengals can rattle him, let's say they somehow find a way to get a quick 14 and all of a sudden Stafford wants to play hero ball and they could pick him off a couple of times, I could see that as an avenue for the Bengals winning. And then once they get a big enough lead, control the clock, run the ball. But for Matthew Stafford, if you're listening to this, because I'm sure you are waiting for my opinion on how you have to play, be patient, stay within the game plan, and don't be throwing up crazy hero ball passes that could get picked off and ultimately cost you the game. If they play their game, if the Rams offense plays their game, they're going to put up 30, 35 points and they're going to win the game. That said, match. That's all you got to do, Matt. Don't outplay yourself.
I think that the Rams have all of the, natural advantages. That's why we're all kind of taking stock in them winning. But I feel like there is the possibility that the Bengals are going to come out hot. They're going to come out swinging because they know they're the underdogs. It's not a foreign concept to them because they've been the underdogs this whole playoff run. And I think it's a position they relish being in. I don't know if that alone is going to be enough to turn the tides of this game, but I would not be surprised if the Bengals, made this way more competitive than some people are giving them credit for. Do I think they're going to win? No, I wouldn't put, I'm not going to bet on them winning, but I would not be surprised if they kept it close. I think Joe Burrow, I think he's going to have a star-making performance. And if he doesn't, a lot of people are going to be unhappy with him. And it's going to be a long offseason for the Bengals if Joe Burrow doesn't show up. And I think the key to the Cincinnati Bengals is going to be trying and forcing Matt Stafford to make these mistakes, as Dominic said, getting up early and forcing Stafford to try and play hero ball. Against the Buccaneers, Stafford played excellent hero ball. He was the hero. But I think the Bengals, they do have one secret weapon, and that is if it becomes a battle of kickers. The Bengals have proved
Yes.
postseason why you draft a kicker. So if these defenses show up and it becomes a game of field position, I do think that the Bengals have the advantage of Evan McPherson versus Matt Gay. I think the Bengals take that. I think that, special teams very underappreciated. I'm a big special teams enthusiast. I think that with these two, talented defenses, that if the offenses fail to show up like last time the Rams were in the Super Bowl, I think that these little chip 3-point increments could be, what seals the difference between, a win and a loss, especially if the Bengals are able to keep themselves in the game with these field goals and, maybe not scoring as many touchdowns, but if they're able to get into the Rams territory consistently, hold their offense back, I think that that's an avenue for the Bengals to, seize momentum.
Yeah, you guys bring up some great points. And, you got like even Odell Beckham. He's gone through so much before he went to the Rams, and he is looking for that ring. He has been chasing it since his first season with the Giants. Like, I honestly do hope the best for him. But I have one question. What do you guys think the color of the Gatorade is going to be when it is poured on the winning coach?
Orange.
Green.
I'm going to be honest, in my pre-podcast notes, I was not going through the Gatorade colors. Wasn't pulling up my Gatorades per victory. Not going through my Gatorade rate or, so that's I think that could be a real tide turner, whatever team has the better Gatorade flavor.
I feel blue. I don't know why. Just a feeling. I don't know.
I'm feeling blue as well, but orange is also very common.
There are so many props though for this. Like who's gonna win the coin toss? Does the national anthem go over a minute? Which I think I would lean yes. Who's performing the national anthem? Do we know?
I have no idea.
Depending on who it is, I think definitely that could give you an idea. Like if we got Lady Gaga going out there, that thing might be 5 minutes. So you would take the over in that scenario. I think the line opened at 6, 5.5, 6. I don't know if it's moved. I haven't looked at it. But I will put my money where my mouth is, and I am taking the Rams for sure in this one. I haven't put it down yet, but that's who I'm going to be going with. No disrespect to the Bengals, I just think it's too much, and they'll be back. Also, all these people that are jumping on the Joe Shiesty, Joe Burr bandwagon, they're gonna be back. Like, I want McVay to get a ring. I want Stafford to get a ring. I want Aaron Donald to have a ring. Like, this seems like this is going to be one of their last chances, and they traded for Matthew Stafford so they can get this done in the next couple of years. Joe Burrow is going to be there for 15 years, so. The rooting interest for the country seems like everybody's on the hot new team with the Bengals, but even if I wasn't betting on it, I'd definitely be rooting for the Rams.
So,
And
singing the
you can go.
national anthem is Mickey Guyton. I don't know if I've ever heard that name.
See, I don't know who that is, so that maybe I would lean under a minute there.
Yeah.
Wait, why does that make
also-
you change?
Well, because like these big like pop stars, like they want to put on like a crazy show and it takes forever and they're holding notes for 30 seconds. But like sometimes it's just like a really good singer and they go out and they do their thing, they do it quick, they execute it just like the Rams are going to do, and it's all business and it doesn't take 20 minutes. So I don't know who that is. That could be a very prevalent singer. Honestly, I have no idea. I've never heard of her, but probably with her I'd go under a minute.
And also, I just want to say that Yeah, so my prediction stands. And also, how long do you guys? I have a question for all you guys. Oh wait, before I get to my question, wait, there's one thing. You guys are afraid about this one matchup. There's this key matchup for the Bengals defense, and here's where I might give the Bengals a glimpse of a chance. Their secondary. There's this one guy who's been playing well in their secondary, Mike Hilton, who played for Pittsburgh. He's a key player in the slot uh, that played well against Hunter Renfro. Watch out. He could do some damage against Cooper Cup. Let's see if he could hang with Cup, then the Bengals defense has a chance. Defense has a chance. So, but my question is, how long does the halftime show last?
I think like what, 20 minutes?
I think it's
Right.
a half hour.
Okay.
I'd say about like, yeah, half hour.
I think it's a half hour. I got Kenley. I was so scared you were gonna say Eli Apple. That bum. I don't care how good he is. I don't care how many Super Bowls he wins. I don't. He could go out there and win MVP. He's a bum, and I'll never like him, and I'm never getting over it.
What's all the hate with him again? I forgot.
Well, he's a giant. He's a giant bust.
He's a
And
troll too, right?
And he's a
Yeah.
former Giant.
Yeah, he's a giant, but he was drafted by the Giants in the first round. There's former Giants all over the field. They got Odell on the Rams side, B.J. Hill, and Eli Apple on the Bengals side. So all our guys are represented. I like B.J. Hill, but Eli Apple, watching him play cornerback in New York, I'd rather stab myself in the eyeballs. So no matter what he does, 3 pick sixes, somehow he throws a touchdown. He's still a bum, and he'll always be a bum.
My
Yeah.
nickname for Burrow is Burrow Boy. Burrow Boy.
Well, according to a press conference, he just likes being called Joe. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I didn't know. He thinks he's Joe Namath, though.
Yeah. Well, so Joe Burrow got sacked 51 times during the regular season. And if he doesn't get sacked in the Super Bowl, that will be very impressive. Really looking forward to that.
There's no way that happens, Wally. There's no way that happens. If that happens, I'm literally gonna get I can't see that happening. That would be amazing if he's able to avoid it like he did with the Chiefs. But I don't see that happening. I'll be like, there's no way. There's no way that happened. I'll be off the record. I'll be like, oh, this is rigged. There's no way he can avoid 15 sacks, right? But I don't know. They might be able to probably establish a run game and set up play action. Maybe that can work. Maybe he becomes Brady-esque and throws those quick passes. I think that, yeah, there's no way.
Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor seeing Aaron Donald and Von Miller in their dreams every single night this week, and that is a fact. I'll throw this question at you: over or under 6 sacks?
You know what? I'm gonna take the over.
I'm going to take the under.
Probably gets
I'm gonna take the over.
8 times. I want to say like 8, 9 times. Probably.
What's the record? Actually, I'm gonna Google that. What's the record for the most times being sacked in the Super Bowl? The Giants got Brady a couple times. I think they got him. Oh wow! All right, so
Both 42 and 46. They got him a bunch of times, bro.
Aaron Donald's definitely going to have at least 3 sacks. 3.5
Because
most.
in Super Bowl 46, it was more of not just them getting to Brady, but like they just kept batting the ball around, like tipping the ball.
okay, so it's a 3-way tie. So in 1976, the Steelers tallied 7 sacks. In '85 against the Patriots, that 85 Bears 46 defense team with Buddy Ryan, they had 7. And then in Super Bowl 50, the Broncos sacked Cam Newton 7 times, which I didn't know it was that many. I knew they got to him a bunch, and all the forced fumbles, but 7, that's a lot. So record-setting territory. I mean, it's possible they get 8.
Guess we'll
But-
just have to wait and find out. This is what predictions like makes me so nervous because I'm like, oh yeah, that could happen, but it also might not happen. But this might happen. Like it's so hard.
It's such a crapshoot. All right. Oh, okay. So I have the Giants one here. So Super Bowl 42, that was the first Giants Super Bowl. They sacked Brady 5 times. And then in Super Bowl 46, they sacked Brady. They don't even have it here, I guess, because they must have only gotten him 3 or 4 times. But yeah, they got to Brady 5 times in the first matchup.
All right. Well, do you guys have any final takes on this Super Bowl? I think we hit it all personally. I did not make a touchdown number prediction yet because last year I was just way off and it was kind of embarrassing. But if I were to predict, I would say that it's going to be something like 36-18 Rams, something like that. But I never know.
I'll throw one more little thing out there. So I went 4-2 in the wild card round. I went 0-4 in the divisional round. And then I went 2-0 in the conference championship Sunday. So I'm 6-6. So this is for everything. This my entire playoffs to be over 500 is riding on this. And roll Rams, baby, roll Rams.
You know, as much as I want, and a lot of people want the Bengals to win, I don't know if they have the juice in the tank. But you know, anything can happen. Games aren't played on paper. So, you know, we can talk and we can give our hot takes as much as we want. But, you know, the only thing that matters at the end of the day is how they do on the field. So while things on paper line up for the Rams, I'm going to remain hopeful that, you know, Bengals pull off this upset.
I'm just gonna say that I don't have the problem with the Bengals. All they got to do is they got to impose their will, and it's good they have their tight end back for this game. They have certain key players back for this game, but if they do pull this off, I would have to say this will definitely be a start of a dynasty if Burrow can pull this off. So yeah.
Before I make my prediction, I just wanted to give you guys a couple stats from the last time the Rams won the Super Bowl against the Patriots. Now, there was not a very eventful game, right? Not a lot happened, not a lot of scoring. But the biggest difference, and I'm looking at this, and the biggest difference is right here. New England had 22 first downs. The Rams only had 14. New England had 33 minutes of time possession. The Rams only had 26. It is about running the ball. It's about controlling the clock. If the Rams have learned their lesson, I think this is going to be a close game where they're going to pull through, and this is going to be a 20-13 win for the Rams. Calling it.
Great point, Robbie. I really hope you're successful.
I hope so too.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up this podcast, guys. I think we made some great points, and I'm excited to meet again next week, hopefully in the podcasting suite, and go over everything that happened and maybe even do a little mock draft. So thank you guys so much for joining another edition of the Sports Media Podcast, and we'll see you next time.